People are so quick to make up their minds about something they haven't even seen at all because of the trending opinion about it on social media. I don't know how many of you out there are familiar with that old Netflix show Insatiable, but what I do know for sure is how much of an ungodly sin it was for Netflix to pull the plug on it and leave its viewers on a juicy cliffhanger that was priming us for a whirlwind of a season 3. That never happened. Now, before you start with the "girl, you're so behind, that show ended a long ass time ago," listen here. I'm missing the heat compress for the pinched nerve in my lower back, not my common sense. And there's nothing that a millennial like me loves more than a good dose of nostalgia. And I'm willing to bet that there's a high chance you are too, and also go out of your way to rewatch the entirety of Insatiable when you've got time to kill. Otherwise, I don't think you would be here. I mean, at least I don't think. I can't think of any other reason why you'd want to click on this video. Anyway, that doesn't matter because you're here now, and thanks for showing up today. Because this is something I have been meaning to get off my chest for a while now. And I didn't have a YouTube channel to talk about it when Insatiable got cut back in 2019. But now is better than never, right? At least that's my philosophy. And it's also because I mentioned the show briefly in my last video about the newest America's Next Top Model documentary. Well, docu-series, Reality Check. I compared one of the judges on the show, Miss J, to Bob Armstrong. So the show was already at the forefront of my mind when I spent my entire spring break binging on it again, instead of spending time doing something recreationally fun because hobbies are important too. Anyway, not the point of this video, and I'm not a life coach, so back on topic. This was one of those shows that it seems the reason for it being scrapped so soon is due to the backlash it got for being quote-unquote fat phobic and promoting the false narrative that being skinny is the magic key to total life satisfaction and brings in an abundance of social connections and opportunities to move up in the world. And if you actually watch the whole show and not just the trailer, like I personally perceive many online vocal critics of the show probably did, you would understand that it's doing the exact opposite. In this day and age where we always hear the first thing about a new movie or show, its virality can either make it or break it. People are so quick to make up their minds about something they haven't even seen at all because of the trending opinion about it on social media. And with Insatiable, the popular opinion about it upon its initial release had words circulating around it like fat shaming, offensive, insensitive, and other words that trigger people in a very personal way and easily influences their decision to hate it without ever watching it because of the unwarranted social justice hive mind that takes up 80 to 90% of the internet. Which brings me to my next point. There really is no need to moralize entertainment to this degree. A show like Insatiable, or really any show or movie, is not meant to be one of those educational short films that you watched in your elementary school guidance counseling classes as a kid that aim to teach children about the harmful effects of bullying or the dangers of doing drugs. The integration of social media as a part of our everyday lives has created a subculture of humanity called the chronically online, a collective of people that believes everything that they see or read on the internet is the gospel truth. And this is the exact group of people that escalates anything that is mildly flawed or not angelically perfect into something worthy of boycotting. And in the context of Insatiable, this trope of the internet convoluted something that wasn't made to be an ABC after school special about fat phobia into a verbal battle of morality, all because they believed the opinions of articles and tweets from people they never met or have any reason to trust. Honestly, it really just demonstrates the alarming amount of people out there who don't understand satire. Now, not that I take online reviews of movies and TV shows to heart, but Rotten Tomatoes is the site that I usually go to get a general reception of a movie or show I'm interested in watching. And here's how Insatiable is rated on there. So you see how there's a stark contrast between critical reception and audience reception? Usually when I see this, I'm inclined to believe the film or show in question is meant to serve a particular audience and not for the enjoyment of the general population of viewers. And unless you've either That's probably why I couldn't breathe. And if we're talking in the context of Insatiable, unless you've been on the receiving end of being socially ostracized for something relating to your appearance, or in any way that makes you feel othered, or brought up in the culture of the American South, you're probably not going to understand or resonate with the show or its humor. This disparity between the critics' reaction and the reaction of everyday people either tells me that the early critic reviewers were not a part of the intended audience the show was meant to be catered to, or a fuckload of people were paid to talk shit about the show and take to social media to bash it as a marketing tactic so people would flock to the streaming service to watch it to see what all the fuss was about. And that could very well be, because when it comes to any new show or movie, all press is good press. And if the marketing and promotion team thought they could sell it in a way that would trigger the chronically online, they were probably like,
hey, let's press some buttons up in this shit.
The goal being to get as many views as possible. The main goal for any form of media produced and put out. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to dislike Insatiable, because people have different tastes, different strokes for different folks. We can all have wrong opinions up in this joint. But seeing the stark contrast between critics and non-critics, it's clear that Insatiable is enjoyed by many viewers, and that these particular group of critics just had their pretentious heads so far up their asses and think they have taste just because they went to film school at UC Berkeley. And that 12% critic rating was probably a reflection of this particular trope of filmgoers. Now let's do a little compare and contrast, shall we? Here are some headlines and verbiage from verified critics. Insatiable is lazy and dull, but at least it's insulting. If only the worst thing about Netflix Insatiable were its lazy portrayals of fat people, or its tone-deaf deployment of salt as comedy, or its embrace of racist tropes, or its portrayals of people with southern accents as dumb pics, or its white-hot conviction that same-sex attraction is either inherently hilarious or a teaching moment.
Oh my God.
No one from the South gets offended by actors playing up exaggerated stereotypes of Southern people in fictionalized media. As a Southerner myself, I find it hilarious, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show. I don't feel like I'm being made fun of for my roots or upbringing, seeing these characters speaking in Southern accents, or that they're generalizing all people from the South. Because as someone raised in that culture, I know that there is some truth in it, based on the people and communities I grew up around, even if its portrayals are amplified for the sake of entertainment. I swear to God, why is it always the people who have no ties to a so-called social issue that are the most offended by said social issue? I don't know, maybe it's because I've reached a point where I can laugh at myself, but whatever. Here's another one. Skin deep dilemma of Insatiable. The messages sent are, fat women must become thin to truly live. All former fatties have deep-rooted insecurity and eating disorders, and that being a sociopath is fine if you're attractive. First of all, Patty didn't start showing sociopathic behavior until after her weight loss. And second, yet again, it's not promoting anything. It's a comedy. Like, if you really are thinking that deep about something that is made to be all in good fun and not meant to be perceived at all from a moralistic lens, I'm just saying, if your main concern is about the morals and political correctness of media content that you consume, you're probably in the wrong profession. You're critiquing entertainment execution, not majoring in social justice at an Ivy League university. Now, to contrast, let's look at the feedback of users on discussion forums like Reddit, who join in on conversations about the show itself and gave the show a viewing chance, at least from what these eyes can see. I enjoyed the hell out of the show, to be honest. The first 3 to 4 episodes are a bit rough, but it gets crazy after that. I didn't see anything at all offensive about it, and I'm not even one of those anti-PC types. I really hope it gets renewed. Loved Insatiable. It was so campy and over the top. Maybe I'll start a rewatch later tonight. It is hilarious, and anyone whining about the fat suit and the bad modeling for girls has obviously never watched the first episode. It's honestly the best thing I've seen in months. Watching the show so that I could shit on it turned out to be the opposite. This show was more like a guilty pleasure for me. In all honesty, I don't understand the fat shaming thing, Being a fat person myself, at no point I found the show to be fat shaming or offensive. The show has more to deal with mental issues caused by bullying, seeking attention, validation, eating disorders, body issues, LGBT issues, depression, addiction, etc. It really covers a lot of issues, to be honest. Also, the Nani storyline, I relate to her so much. I don't know, but if you ask me, if I were sitting in front of you right now and I hadn't seen the show and wanted to get intel on whether it would truly be a good show to watch or not, I'm more likely to trust the opinions of people who haven't been financially compensated or given publicity for their 2 cents about it. Just because film critics are trusted sources by mainstream media doesn't automatically mean their opinion or feedback holds weight for everyone. Just saying, I think we need to stop putting professional experts about a certain field or topic on pedestals and be okay with validating our own thoughts that come from our own lived experiences, even if it doesn't align with the opinion that is the most publicized or universally upheld. But that's a whole other tangent that can be done at a later time with something more serious than what we're talking about right now. And with all this media critic talk, I think it is a combination of pretty and beautiful. Transition into the next point. I've noticed over the years that anytime there is a lighthearted film or TV comedy that incorporates themes of beauty, fashion, pageantry, cheerleading, or anything that is feminized by Western society, there's a preconceived notion that the material is going to be shallow and not thought-provoking. And trust me, the bad ones do exist. The bad ones do exist that lack substance and good acting, like the unnecessary sequels to bring it on. But just because a movie or show is funny and often gets categorized as a chick flick or a girls' night watch, that doesn't automatically mean it kills your brain cells from stupidity. And with Insatiable, even though it is a dark comedy, it does touch on the widely recognized idea that just because your life gets better and you get more validation as a result of socially leveling up, if you have a gaping hole in your soul and a chip on your shoulder from unfortunate earlier life circumstances, no body alteration, no amount of praise, and no number of accomplishments will fill an empty void created by your own inner critic that continues to remind you every single day that you're a worthless piece of shit. I mean, not that a comedy or anything made from a place of unseriousness needs a philosophical debate. Just trying to illustrate my point about the, yes, misogyny that dominates the film and TV industry, and an alarming amount of pretentious critics that created this stereotype to give shows and films that seem girly, yet another reason to dismiss and degrade femininity, and keep the sector of entertainment fueled by masculine prestige. And a show like Insatiable is an easy target to unnecessarily bash because it's a comedy about a beauty pageant queen, a very feminine job, vocation, activity that bases itself on the physical beauty of women. And I feel like this also happened with Miss Congeniality, a cult classic that is beloved by many. But of course, when it first got released, the professional critics spoke about it in terms of it being a stupid chick flick because of the pageantry aspect of the film that influenced the official reviews. Just because something is feminine or girly doesn't automatically make it bad, people. I don't see what is so hard about that to understand. And another thing that I think really got people tripped up about the show, without giving it a watching chance, is the kind of shaky reputation Debbie Ryan had at the time. In the earliest to mid 2010s, she said this in an interview on the red carpet.
My one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
And of course, she got a lot of hate for it, got called out of touch, self-obsessed, and that point on, she garnered this negative online reputation of what the internet would call today as being a cringy pick-me. But in my humblest of opinions, Debbie Ryan saying something weird doesn't subtract from her great performance as Patti LaBelle, or the show's execution of humor. And I think the internet's perception of her and her image at that time really affected and influenced the backlash that people gave the show. I mean, of course, Debbie Ryan herself isn't to blame for the backlash of the show at all, but I do think that with the way that she was perceived in a rather negative light by a lot of people that were chronically online was probably definitely a big player in the lack of willingness that some people had to give the show a chance and watch it for themselves, as opposed to coming to their own conclusion based solely just on a tweet that says it promotes eating disorders. And if we're being for real up in the shit, I blame them. I blame them for us not getting a season 3. Because personally, if I think season 3 did happen, Bob Armstrong would have found a way to team up with Dixie to take down Patty. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think would have happened if we'd gotten to season 3? And if you're Netflix watching this, take this as an official petition to reinstate Insatiable as a part of your watch catalog. Thanks! And you know what else I'm thankful for? I'm thankful to you for watching. And extra brownie points for you if you watch from beginning to end. Takes a real trooper to do that. That means you the realest of the real. You is one of the real MVPs. And that you should probably join the emotional support coven. That's just what I call this channel's subscribers for those of you that are new here. It's not like you gotta pay something to join or you're being gate-kept from it. Always wants to die right. Then listen to that feminine urge of yours to find that subscribe button that you see on your screen right there and you just tap it like this. And if you want the most top tier, most immediate access to my energy, then turn on those notifications so that you can get notified with every new bi-weekly video drop of me talking about whatever. Stay cool, fresh, and I'll see you next time.